UFC Vegas 108. I got a pick and a prediction for every single fight on the card. How we doing, everybody? My name is Young Pasty, the whitest in the game, and you heard it right. A pick and prediction for every single fight on the card. UFC Vegas 108, we have a makeshift main event in Taira versus Park. Albazi drops, not last minute, but I mean a week before you're supposed to be a headliner on a main event. Come on now. And you know, a few exciting fights. You know, the Chris Duncan, Rebecki fight should be good, the co-main event. We got Ribovics. We got Kevin Vallejos. So a few fighters I like. And then some trash fights. Yeah, but we'll get into all that here later. Let's recap last week, as we always do here, okay? Gotta stay transparent. Pulling the results up here right now. And yeah, not too hot for UFC Abu Dhabi. 5-7 on the picks. It's been a crazy past 2 weeks here, guys. Like UFC 318, a bunch of underdogs hit on the main card. UFC Abu Dhabi, a bunch of underdogs hit on the prelims. So it's just been a wild couple of weeks. And it's not like I just pick all favorites, right? That's not what we do around here. I pick who's going to win the fight. And I actually picked a lot of underdogs just on the wrong side of some. So 5-7 on the picks. A few fights I would like to highlight, though. That Bogdan Guskov fight, called it to a T. I mean, man, he beat the crap out of Krylov. Krylov is just like dust at this point. Now, the RDR Whitaker fight, back and forth. Some people say Whitaker, some people say RDR. In my honest opinion, probably would lean RDR taking that fight. I didn't think it would go that far. I thought a finish was going to happen. But we saw him go 5 rounds. That third round was so damn close. Whitaker had RDR on the ground. Ebo Aslan let down. Bryce Mitchell coming through for USA. Baby Shark Richie obliterating Heba's face. Apparently she had to have some surgery in her head. She had some titanium plate in there or something like that. I don't know. And then that Yaha fight. Look, dude is tough as hell, but come on, Jason Herzog. You probably should have called that fight at some point. Yaha was getting his butt whooped. You just gave Stephen Wen the UFC record for knockdowns. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, let's move on. And we got a bounce back week here, guys. I am confident in all my picks for UFC Vegas 108. And let's get to it. Our makeshift main event. Now, this was originally supposed to be Tatsuro Taira versus Amir Albazi, but I don't know what's going on with Albazi. He's not participating in the fight here. We have HyunSung Park coming in on short notice. So Tatsuro Taira versus HyunSung Park. Peace of mind. Odds on the fight are not out yet. Now, I imagine Tatsuro Taira is probably going to be a heavy favorite, somewhere near the minus 400 to 500 range, which would probably put Park near the plus 300, plus 400 range. So those are my anticipated odds. I see Tatsuro Taira coming in as a big favorite here, and that is who I'm picking to win the fight, Tatsuro Taira. Now, a good opportunity for HyunSung Park, right? But man, you're going up against a killer guy in Tatsuro Taira, and HyunSung Park's a road to UFC guy who, honestly, I'm not impressed with road to UFC guys, right? But I picked him in his last fight to win. He does have solid potential. Who did he beat last time? Carlos Hernandez, 2 months ago. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty easy win for him. Snatched up the back, very quick and easy. But Tatsuro Taira is an expert on the mat. HyunSung Park is going to be very outclassed on the mat. Now, don't sleep on Taira's striking. It's okay, right? I think HyunSung Park has good power in his hands too, but is he knocking out Tatsuro Taira? No. Is he going to submit Tatsuro Taira? I don't think so. Tatsuro Taira's not a dummy on the mat. He will get takedowns. His top control is nice. Basically, if Taira's taking you down, he's going to hold you on the ground. Look for the subs. He mixes in a little bit of ground pound, but ultimately just looking for subs on the ground. Much more experienced than Park, and like HyunSung Park's coming off a fight versus Carlos Hernandez. Taira just came off a fight which he arguably won versus Royval, right? Those are two different beasts there. And Carlos Hernandez is a little beast and Royval is the big beast, right? What I'm saying is Taira's gone up against much better competition than HyunSung Park. I mean, Carlos Hernandez and Shannon Ross, that is your UFC tenure, right? Taira's gone up against Brandon Royval, Alex Perez, Carlos Hernandez, who he beat easy with a KO, Edgar Chairez. That win is aging pretty good. And then Jesus Aguilar, like he's beaten actual people in the UFC. I wouldn't say HyunSung Park is going up against that level in competition. Now, I like HyunSung Park. It's just, this is just not the fight for him. Matchups make fights, right? You're stepping up too quick and on short notice. Taira's been prepping for this fight. Now he's getting an easier opponent. Coming off his very first loss, you think he's going to go out there and throw out a stinker against you, out of all people, a road to UFC guy? You know what I mean? Now, again, I like HyunSung Park. Decent grappling. You know, he snatches the back really quick. Usually the one pressuring. Has, you know, some powerful shots in his hands, but low hands, super hittable. Been knocked down in a lot of his fights, right? Maybe except the last one. First 5-round fight. Taira's just coming off a 5-round fight. And, you know, usually Park finds ways to win, but not against Taira. So I got Tatsuro Taira, and I got him by submission. He's probably going to find it in probably early. Second, third round is my honest opinion. So Taira by submission. That is my official pick. Let's move on, guys, to our co-main event of the evening. We have Chris the Problem Duncan versus Mateusz Rebecki, a.k.a. Rabisti. Okay. Odds in the fight, plus 175 from my boy Chris Duncan. Minus 210 from my other boy Mateusz Rebecki. My pick for this fight is going to be Chris Duncan. Okay? He's one of my guys. I keep backing him as a dog, and he keeps coming through. Okay? 2 solid submission wins straight over Balaji Oki and Jordan Vucinic. That gilly he has, ooh, he'll snatch you in that gilly, and that shit's tight, and you're going to sleep. Dude had to literally look up at the ref and say, like, he's asleep on me. Get up. Get him off of me. I won the fight. Chris Duncan's good, and he has power in the hands. Now, I'm excited for this co-main event, guys. I'm excited for this co-main event because Mateusz Rebecki is no slouch either. And respect to him, coming off a war in his last fight versus Oralbai. Like, if you guys need to go watch that fight. Rebecki versus Oralbai. That shit was a war. It's super entertaining. Goes back and forth. Excuse me. But he gave himself adequate time to recover from that, right? That was 9 months ago. And again, that was a war. Like, these guys were beating the crap out of each other. Absorbed so many strikes. So I'm actually not mad at the little bit of a longer layoff from his next fight here. Rebecki relies on forward pressure. You know, he's tough. He has good volume. Actually has some pretty solid takedown defense. But he's got these really short T-Rex arms, right? He has to throw big overhands, hooks, lunging shots to really kind of get in and close distance on people. And I think he's going to have a problem with that on Chris Duncan, right? Like, Chris Duncan's not just going to sit there and exchange in the pocket, right? I think sometimes when, you know, he gets hit a little bit, he kind of gets drawn into that, but hopefully his fighter IQ has grown, and, you know, again, he's shown improvements from fight to fight to fight, right? And he'll be aware of that. But people keep sleeping on my boy Chris Duncan, okay? As I said, I keep backing him as a dog. He keeps coming through. Yes, I backed him in the loss versus Manuel Torres, but I had him versus Yunal Ashmoose. I had him versus Balaji. I had him versus Jordan Vucinic. I keep backing my boy, okay? And I'm not going to not back my boys. Like, that's just what we do around here, okay? The subs they keep coming through, and they're always live. KO power in the hands, okay? Chris Duncan's got some heavy hands. You've seen it on Dana White Contender Series. You've seen him throw really heavy shots against other people, too. Now, like, striking-wise, really good counters, good kicks, and a really heavy right hand. And I'll throw it out there, because I got to throw it out there, right? Like, Duncan can definitely get rocked at times. Like, he has been wobbled. He might dang well get wobbled by Rebecki, but He's shown the ability to recover and come back from getting rocked. He's shown fighter IQ in those moments to, like start grappling, hold him up against the fence. Allow yourself the time to recover from a big shot like that. And let's be honest, he has the grappling edge over Rebecki. I think he's going to be able to take him down at points. And yes, Rebecki has solid takedown defense, right? But I think Chris Duncan's going to be able to take him down at least once or twice, or at least mix in the threat a bit, hold him up against the fence, etc. I kind of compare this fight to his fight with Yanal Ashmus, right? Because in terms of size and kind of build, they are similar. Yanal Ashmus and Rebecki, they're kind of that short and stout kind of, build. Like Chris Duncan's going to be taller and longer than Rebecki, but he's not some like long range distance matador, you know what I mean? Like he's not dancing around the octagon like that, but he gets his shots in, he's probably going to be on the back foot. But as an underdog, he keeps coming through. People keep sleeping on him. I think people are high on Rebecki after coming off of that win versus Oralbai. And Rebecki's a dog, right? He's tough. He's a fighter, but he's also very hittable, as you saw in that fight. You saw Oralbai kind of have some success in the grappling exchanges too. Chris Duncan brings a submission threat. Chris Duncan, I think, has a lot more power in his hands than Oralbai. Chris Duncan riding good momentum off of 2 straight submission wins. Give me my boy Chris the Duncan problem, and I got him by decision. Let's go. Next fight. Our featured fight on the main card. We have another one of my favorites here. Esteban El Gringo Ribovics versus Elves Brener. Current odds in the fight -285 for Ribovics and +230 for Elves Brener. My pick for this fight is going to be Esteban Ribovics. Now, I don't think he's just going to blow Elves Brener out of the water. Okay, let me just get that out there. I like Esteban Ribovics, but he's in some wars and some close fights, right? Like winning a split decision over Daniel Zellhuber, losing a split decision over Nasrat Haqparast, which I think he won, by the way. An obvious win over Camila Kirk back in the day 2 years ago, but that's not really a name that he can kind of brag about at this point. Gets a nice KO win over Terrence McKinney too. But, the last 2 fights, been in some wars and some close fights. He's a striker with lots of volume and forward pressure. And don't sleep on Elves Brener. Guys, don't. Like, I know you see the name, you write him off, but he's a shoot box guy. He's going to have Charles in his corner. He's kind of known to be a KO guy in the UFC, but honestly, prior to that, dude has over 10 submission wins, right? And I think that might be a sneaky kind of little play, on the betting side of things, right? Elves Brener by submission, because Esteban Ribovics isn't really going up against, submission heavy threats, right? Daniel Zellhuber, Nasrat Haqparast, Terrence McKinney maybe a little bit, but he knocked him out in 30 seconds. So he didn't really see a submission threat, you know what I mean? But he's not really gone up against, submission artists. I wouldn't say Elves Brener's known for that in UFC, right? But prior to that, he had over 10 submission wins. So I'm just saying. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised after the fight if you said Elves Brener won by submission, because Charles in the corner, shoot box guy, you know what I mean? But anyway, my reasoning for picking Esteban Ribovics, he's a dog, right? Constant forward pressure. Elves Brener's going to be on the back foot. Mixes in body shots. Lots of volume. Good kicks. They're heavy. And he's got heavy hands too. We saw him knock the lights out of Terrence McKinney and put a lot of good shots on Daniel Zellhuber. And likewise with Haqparast, you know what I mean? But on the flip side, he's hittable as hell. You know what I mean? He's in these wars for a reason, right? It's back and forth for a reason, because he's getting hit too. Straights and jabs, they get through pretty easy. Those like longer kind of guys, Nasrat and Zellhuber, those are kind of longer guys, right? They were always, dancing around, were able to get those long shots on him. Ribovics' defense is not very good, and his chin kind of stays up in the air a little bit, but he's got a chin like no other. It's held up so far. His cardio's pretty dang good. And like I said, he's tough. He's got that dog mentality. He breaks opponents down, and he's not a quitter, okay? He will not quit in this fight. And I think he's able to break down Elvis Brener. I think he's able to just bully him, constantly move forward, defend the takedowns. If he does get taken down, won't be too long, maybe able to get back up to defend the submission threats. Elvis Brener, he's not really good against like technical strikers he gets outclassed there. Now, I wouldn't say Esteban Ribovics is a technical striker whatsoever, right? He's more of like a workhorse, but I think he's going to be able to break down Elvis Brener and, get a good decision win. Beat him up for 3 rounds. So Esteban Ribovics by decision. That is my official pick on this fight. But Elvis Brener by submission, Elvis Brener ITD. I would not be opposed on the betting side if that's something that you looked at. So our next fight on the main card. Ladies going at it. We have Karol Rosa versus Nora Wonder Cornolle. Odds on the fight, -170 for Karol Rosa, +140 for the French woman Nora Cornolle. My pick for this fight is going to be the underdog. Give me Nora Cornolle. I just like her aggression. I've been a fan of Nora Cornolle. Coming off a nice little submission win where she faced adversity in the first round, getting taken down and handled right on the mat for a whole first round. But Karol Rosa, she's a very stationary striker. Like, her movement's not too much. Like, she does have the ability to grapple and mixes that in at some points, but really prefers to strike. But with that stationary movement, she's not really exerting too much energy, right? She's just moving with intent, right? And her striking is nice. Like, she hits harder than most girls in the featherweight division here. Like, she hits pretty dang good. But I see a lot of Nora holding up Karol Rosa against the fence. Nora's elbows are really nasty in the clinch and in space too. I feel like she's going to mix a lot of those in. Nora likes to grapple. She'll probably, mix that in as well. And she's not going to give up on herself, right? She's aggressive. And I don't like Karol Rosa's aggression at all. And there's a couple of other fighters on the card where I'll talk about aggression. That's really something that means a lot to me. If you don't come out there with, aggression and, intent to win, and not stupid aggression, right? Not blind aggression, calculated aggression. That's what I like to see. I don't want people in there, point fighting. Unless you're just very good at that, Anywho. Nora Cornolle, decent striker, pretty good leg kicks. Personally, I've backed her in the past, and I like her, style, right? Her fighter IQ does lack at times, but her dogness and her toughness kind of makes up for it. Like she's going in for the kill. So she loves to hold people up against the fence, loves to mix in the elbows and the knees on the fence and the clinch. The grappling, she really needs to neutralize the striking of Rosa, not have this distance between them. Because if it's a straight up striking match, Rosa's probably gonna hit her with the cleaner shots, even though her volume's kind of lower, unless she sees that people are hurt, and then she really pours it on. But her volume's kind of lower, and even though you look at the stats, right? Says Rosa's maybe 2 inches smaller than Cornolle. Rosa's a big girl for this division. You'll see it. She's real big and thick. So it's that's something that you need to keep in mind too, muscle mass. Because Nora Cornolle, she's, obviously we're in featherweight here, but I would say Rosa's got, more thickness to her. So, but I got Cornolle. I like her aggression. I like her elbows in the clinch. I like her wrestling. I like her grappling. I like what she's going to do and what she's going to bring in the fight versus Rosa, and it's women's MMA, right? I'm going to take the dog in this spot. So give me Nora Cornolle. I got her by decision. Let's move on. A fight on the main card that, two oldies going at it. Okay, I guess it's more of a respect thing in my opinion, but entertainment-wise, probably should have been on the prelims, you know what I mean? Anywho, we have Magny, the Haitian sensation, versus Elizeu Zaleski. His nickname is Capoeira. Probably said that wrong. Odds on the fight, +180 for Magny, and it's -215 for Zaleski. I'm going with another underdog here, guys. I'm picking Magny to win this fight. This is another situation where an older kind of fighter. Really looked bad in their last fight, and I can't back them for that. Now, you could say the same with Neil Magny, but let me make this case for you, right? Neil Magny is going up against, I would say, a lot better competition versus Zaleski. Like, they're throwing Neil Magny to the wolves here, guys. Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, Ian Gary, those are his losses, right? All three of those guys are also going to smoke Zaleski. Who's Zaleski losing to? Chidi Njokuani, Randy Brown. Coming up with a draw versus Renat Fakhretdinov. Oh, you KO'd Zach Scroggin. Who the fuck's that? Split decision over Abu Kabar Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean? Like, the level of competition is very wide here. Neil Magny pulling off a win versus Mike Malott and Phil Rowe. Those are much better wins than Zaleski. You know what I mean? And getting knocked out by Chidi just 4 months ago. I like Neil Magny in this spot. I think he's going to grit out this fight. I think it's going to be a vintage Neil Magny win, right? We're going to see him for 3 rounds, grit this fight up, hold him up against the fence, get that dirty boxing in, good knees, elbows, work on the fence, maybe try to get the takedown. Probably won't be able to do it because Zaleski will try to hold him up. I just think it's a 3-round gritty fight. I think Dos Santos is going to throw some wild hooks, and could one of them hit? Yeah, they could. One of them could land, and Neil Magny could get knocked out of here again. But he looked old and slow in his last fight. Zaleski did, and he will find more success in open space. But Neil Magny also has the reach advantage and much taller than him too. Maybe he works a game plan where he's dancing around the octagon. I don't think so, but I see a boring fight. I see Neil Magny gritting it out, a dirty decision win over Zaleski. I think Zaleski is way past his prime. I like my Brazilians, guys. I really do. But I just think he's past his time here. And I think Neil Magny takes this away as the underdog. So, Neil Magny, by decision. That is my official pick. All right, next fight. We have Danny Silva, El Puma, versus Kevin Vallejos, El Chino. Odds in the fight, we have plus 345 for Danny Silva and minus 470 for Kevin Vallejos. My pick for this fight is Kevin Vallejos. This one's easy here, guys. My boy Kevin Vallejos is a prospect to watch here in the featherweight division. He's definitely going to put on against Danny Silva. Now, Danny Silva's nickname, El Puma. Let me give you a new nickname, okay? You are officially the Lamb of the Week, Danny Silva. Call yourself El Lamb. Kevin Vallejos is going to handle you, dude. Now, first off, yes, I just called him the Lamb of the Week. And say what you will about Danny Silva, but he has 2 wins in the UFC. Split decisions over Lucas Almeida and Josh Kulabau. Now, say what you will, but they're wins in the UFC. Right? Overall, not really that terrible of a fighter, but yeah, Kevin Vallejos, heavy-handed KO killer, great boxing skills, forward pressure, great combo, works in body shots, great combos, works in body shots, nice heavy leg kicks, great feints, comes out blazing in the first round. He'll definitely win the first round. Probably might dang near put Danny Silva to sleep in the first round. We'll just have to see how tough he is, right? Like, Danny Silva hasn't been knocked out in his career. His only loss comes by decision. So, Kevin Vallejos, he's active. He's young. He has the ability to dig deep. Heavy shots in the hands. Good takedown defense. No slouch on the mat. Has a couple of sub-wins in the past. Like, I am very high on Kevin Vallejos. Now, yeah, he's a heavy favorite, right? But he is going to handle Danny Silva. No questions. And Danny Silva, like, he has okay boxing, clean combos, decent power and pressure. He'll lose the pressure battle, I'll tell you that. Kevin Vallejos was pressuring John Silva the whole fight, right? Had John Silva on the back foot all 3 rounds. And that's Kevin Vallejos' only loss, mind you, right? John Silva, who will be fighting for the title here probably soon, let's be honest, right? Danny Silva, like, bites on feints. He's probably going to lose the striking exchanges. I call him Lamb of the Week for a reason, Kevin Vallejos is no force to be reckoned with, okay? Do not mess with this guy. Kevin Vallejos is coming in for the kill. I got him by KO. I think he's going to finish Danny Silva. I don't think Danny Silva's got too much to bring here. I mean, he's gonna bring a fight, right? Because he's tough. He's in the UFC. They accepted the fight. They're in contract. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's coming out here to fight. So I respect him for taking on the fight. But, man, like, I would be very shocked if Danny Silva were to win here. So, Danny Silva, you are my honorary Lamb of the Week. Kevin Vallejos is going to finish you. The sacrificial lamb, the setup fight of the week. Kevin Vallejos by KO. I think it comes in the second round. The second round. So Kevin Vallejos by KO. Let's go. All right, our next fight. This is the featured prelim of the evening. We have Nick Blue Collar Klein versus Andrey Pulyaev. Odds on the fight. -115 for Nick Klein. -115 for Andrey Pulyaev. I believe Pulyaev is climbing away as a favorite. I think I've seen Nick Klein as like a +120 underdog. Don't quote me on that. But my pick for this fight is going to be Nick Klein. Now, I spoke on aggression earlier. I told you I was going to bring it up. And here's why I'm going to bring it up. Andrey Pulyaev showed me no aggression in his last fight versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Not one bit whatsoever. All he did was throw fucking leg kicks. That shit pissed me off. He did not go in there to win the fight. He was out there fucking point fighting. And Christian Leroy Duncan put on him, right? Had over 100 strikes in that fight against Pulyaev. Like, what I saw in that fight really turned me off. And on the flip side, Nick Klein, what did he do in his first fight in the UFC? What did he do? He comes out aggressive, right? He comes out and submits. I don't know what the hell his name is. What's this guy's name? Geraldo Souza comes out and submits Geraldo Souza within a matter of 2 minutes, right? So he comes out and he tries to win fights. Now, his UFC debut versus Mansour, he still looked okay, right? Had a couple of moments. Landed a nice little spinning back elbow. Took Mansour down. I mean, he got fucked up in the second round, like, let's be honest. But, like, had some moments in that fight, okay? Nick Klein's shown some grappling experience, so shown some submissions in the past, shown some solid power in the hands and the elbows, as we've seen. Now, he has had a problem with getting taken down. I don't think Andrey Pulyaev is going to really kind of mix that in. I mean, we saw it on, I think, Contender Series, I believe. Mixed in a takedown, has some control for a little bit, but that's not really his game plan, right? He's like a very low volume, singular shot kind of guy. Kind of looking for that one shot, but like doesn't even like throw with intent. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really a KO guy. And, you know, his wins, you would say, oh, he's much more experienced, 9-3 versus 6-2. I mean, 8 fights to 12. And they really built up Andrey Pulyaev. Like, his wins are over some bums. Also, by the way, Pulyaev, in his amateur career, went 3-5. He went 3-5 in his amateur career and then went pro. Make that make sense to me. You have a losing record in amateur and then you go pro? I don't know. I've never seen that before. Usually, you know, you like work your way up to pros after having a winning record in amateurs. But yeah, you know, I'm going with the more aggressive guy, Nick Klein. He's going to go in there and try and beat Andrey Pulyaev up. Oh, he might get hit with a couple kicks. Boo-hoo. They're not going to knock Nick Klein out, I don't believe. Right? Like, Andrey Pulyaev is very hittable. I don't like his fighter IQ. Not really a KO guy, as I just mentioned. Can get held on the fence pretty easy. I think Nick Klein can find success there. Just hold him up against the fence, mix in some elbows. UFC debut looked terrible for Pulyaev. So I'm going with the dog. I'm going with the guy who wants it more. I'm going with the guy who doesn't look timid in the octagon. Give me Nick Klein. Give me blue collar. I got him by some sort of finish. Give me KO. I think he KOs him. Fuck it. Nick Klein KO. Let's go. All right, next fight. We have Rinya Nakamura, the hybrid, versus Nathan Fletcher. Odds on the fight -430 for Rinya and +325 for Nathan Fletcher. My pick for this fight is another underdog. Give me Nathan Fletcher here, guys. This Rinya Nakamura, I think he's a little overrated. Not a little, I mean a lot. Like, his striking got completely exposed in the last fight. Was very gun shy. Didn't really know what to do with Mr. Hairy Back Gafarov. And yes, he has heavy shots when he lands, but like he just throws very wild, and he has like this wrestling that's very, very nice, and honestly shown that he can use it very well, but didn't mix that in with his last fight versus Gafarov. I think that if people put him on the back foot and he doesn't know what to do and he's not in control of the fight, he's a fish out of water. And he really showed that in his last fight. I did not like what I saw in the striking whatsoever in the last fight versus Gafarov. He only had a few moments in the third round, but I think most of the judges gave it a 30-27 Gafarov. Nakamura is a former road to UFC guy. You know how I feel about that. And the odds are just not justified here to make you a minus 430 favorite. Now, Fletcher coming off a loss versus Loughran, I don't think he lost there. I think he did a lot more damage. Clearly won the second round and I believe the third round. So, unless I'm getting the rounds mixed up, it was the first or the third. He clearly won the second, I know that. But there was a round where he just did a lot more damage and Loughran was just kind of like holding him, right? And like, are we just judging holding? You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't think he lost the last fight. I believe he got robbed, but Fletcher, Cage Warriors guy. Look, I put Cage Warriors over Road to UFC. You know what I mean? He's definitely the much cleaner striker than Nakamura. I'll tell you that. Also has the grappling too. Can mix in the grappling. You saw it with Rinya Nakamura there. But one thing I didn't like was Loughran was holding Fletcher down. And if Loughran's holding you down, and even though he's a pretty kind of short and stout guy, Nakamura could probably do the same too. So I can see Nakamura at points maybe taking Fletcher down and maybe even holding him there for a little bit, but Fletcher's no dummy on the mat. He's not going to be getting submitted by Nakamura or going to be getting knocked out, right? Honestly, the over 2.5 rounds might be something to look at too, because I think this fight's probably going to go 3 rounds. I mean, I think Fletcher's going to take it by decision. I just think Fletcher's going to come in with a pretty striking plan. He's going to avoid the takedowns, land the bigger shots, and avoid the big shots coming back, right? Like Nakamura throws these wild hooks and crazy overhands and wild kind of shots. And Fletcher's a pretty kind of striker, you know what I mean? And he can land clean. Like he's live to win here. He is super live to win here. These odds are not justified at all. So I got Nathan Fletcher. Maybe if you're high on Rinya Nakamura, the point spread when it comes out, something to look at, right? He's already a plus 330 underdog. I imagine the plus 3.5 is probably going to be plus money too. That's probably the way I would go, right? Just in case Rinya Nakamura maybe gets the first 2 rounds, able to take Fletcher down and control him, then tires himself out, gasses himself out, and Fletcher gets some good shots in the third round, or gets a comeback knockout or submission in the third round when Nakamura is tired. So Nathan Fletcher, by decision, is my official pick for this fight. All right, next fight. 2 people I really don't trust at all. We have Rodolfo Vieira, the black belt hunter, versus Tresean Gore, Mr. Vicious. Odds on the fight, minus 220 for Rodolfo, plus 180 for Tresean. My pick for this fight is going to be Rodolfo Vieira. I think he's going to be able to get a submission win here actually pretty easy. I think he has some nice double legs and clinch takedowns. He's going to be able to use those to advantage, get Tresean Gore down, probably find an arm triangle or grab the back, get a rear naked choke or an arm bar. Find the arm bar somewhere. Those are my 3 that I think he works out. Tresean Gore, like, I was high on him at one point, but you got knocked out by Cody Brundage. You got worked by Marco Tullio. Lost to Brian Battle. You're 5-3. You're nearing 0.500 record. You know what I mean? Like, he's shown potential at times, but also really flopped hard at times. But, I said at the beginning, these are 2 people I don't trust. It's not like Rodolfo Vieira is the best one to trust either, right? He's like older at 35 years old. every damn fight he's getting clipped and knocked down, right? But, ultimately, if he grabs a hold of you, gets you down on the mat, he's going to find that submission. That's what he does. No takedown, no win. That's how it works for Rodolfo Vieira. Look at all his prior wins and losses, right? If he does not get a takedown, he doesn't win. If he does get a takedown, he does win. That's just how it works. Like, he's going to lose a boxing battle and striking battle with Tresean Gore. Like, Tresean Gore not bad in the boxing. And also, you've seen it before. Tresean Gore got these sneaky little stubs, okay? That standing gilly's nice. He's pulled it off twice. Now, do I think he's going to pull that off versus Rodolfo Vieira? No, unless he's shooting that double leg takedown. You never freaking know, because Tresean can snatch that up pretty quick. Decent gym, too. Tresean Gore's training out at MMA Lab, but honestly, just recently, maybe for the past few months, MMA Lab hasn't been cranking out very good wins, even though they're going up against very tough competition. Last one speaking is Marcus McGee versus Peter Yan. You know what I mean? Tresean Gore, cardio really not tested. I mean, we saw, in the Bryan Battle fight, but we saw, Bryan Battle take over in that fight. Gore kind of get tired in the third round. I just can't trust what I've seen from Tresean here in the past to back him. I got more faith in Rodolfo. I got more faith in his grappling ability. I think that his chin's not completely gone. Like, if he got KO'd, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Because Gore got some pretty heavy hands. But even when he does get clipped or knocked down, people come forward at him. He grabs him up, able to take him down. People are just stupid. Tresean Gore don't have that fighter IQ either to, let Vieira get back up. You know what I mean? So I got Rodolfo Vieira. I got him by submission, and I think it comes pretty early and pretty easy, round 1 or round 2. So Rodolfo Vieira by submission. That's my official pick. All right, moving on. Next fight. 2 Brazilians going at it here. We have Felipe Bunes, Filipeino, versus Rafael Estevam, Macapa. I probably fucked up your guys' nicknames. I apologize. Odds on the fight, plus 350 for Felipe, minus 500 for Estevam. My pick for this fight is going to be Rafael Estevam. Biggest favorite on the card. Now, I don't think the odds are justified here at all. We saw Estevam really gas out and lose that third round versus Jesus Aguilar in his last fight. But I like that he's coming back pretty quickly here because he was pretty inactive prior to that. Kind of a once-a-year kind of guy. So I'm glad he's getting back into it. He's 28 years old. Where's this guy training out of? Nueva Uniano? Okay, not one I'm too familiar with. But I like my Brazilians, guys, but they're both Brazilian. Can't pick a side there on that, but I like Estevam's top control. When he takes people down, he holds you there. He's good in the clinch. He's good in the fence. Nice ground and pound too. Works for submissions. Now, weight cutting issues. Just want to bring it up. Just check weigh-ins before. He's had weight cutting issues in the past. So just something to mention there. But I hope he's worked on his cardio as well. As I mentioned, that Jesus Aguilar fight, won the first 2, lost the third, gases in the third. But Felipe Bunes don't have the best gas tank either. You know what I mean? This guy coming from ACA to LFA to UFC now. He'll more than likely get controlled on the mat by Estevam. I mean, he has some striking ability, right? These guys aren't really strikers, I guess. If anything, Bunes is probably the more experienced striker. But he's doing flashy shit, right? Kicks and spinny shit. Not really technical, go to work kind of stuff. Honestly, it's hard for me to really gauge where Bunes is at this point in his UFC tenure because he beat a Jose Johnson who's, all right? And then loses to Joshua Van, who's a title contender. So it's he's somewhere in the middle of that. I just don't know where to kind of put him. He could find some success in the striking if he's able to fend off takedowns, but honestly, Esteban will probably be able to get that takedowns, and Bunes will probably pull guard, accept the position on the ground. Honestly, yeah, I got Esteban here. I think this is a pretty easy decision win for him. Maybe even a third round KO. Maybe he worked on his cardio issues. I don't know, but I think he may win the first 2 again, drop the third where Bunes finds some success in the striking. That's probably what I anticipate here. So Esteban by decision. That is my official pick. All right. Our first fight of the night, and the one that I am honestly the least interested in. We have Taira Rodriguez, La Fiera, versus Ketlin Souza. What the fuck is this nickname? SK Tadiana? Odds in the fight, minus 195 for Taira, plus 145 for Ketlin Souza. My pick for this fight is going to be Ketlin Souza, okay? I don't like Taira Rodriguez. This is the headbutt bitch, okay? If you guys don't know, she had a fight with, where is it here? Ariane Carnellosi. She has her down on the ground. She headbutts her. She looks up, the ref's like, don't headbutt her. You're not supposed to do that. She looks down at her opponent and literally starts and just headbutts her again, right? Loses by DQ. I'm glad that they held her accountable for that and gave her a loss there. And ever since then, I don't like her. And Ketlin Souza's Brazilian. You know I love my Brazilians. If you don't know, now you do, okay? Love Brazilian fighters. But Ketlin Souza's coming off a split decision loss versus Angela Hill, which I think she won. She has solid jiu-jitsu. I think she's a powerful striker. Has really nice overhands and elbows. I will admit she's a slow starter. Maybe may and probably will get taken down by Taira Rodriguez, because that's Rodriguez's game, right? Get takedowns, top control, mix in some boring ground and pound, maybe look for a submission. Honestly, she looked pretty good in her last fight versus Knutson, was able to get takedowns every single round and hold her there. But I got Ketlin Souza for the fact that she has more power in her hands. She has a decent gas tank. I thought she won that last fight versus Hill, honestly. She beat a Jarugi, who is pretty dang good, and a Marnik man who's all right. But yeah, again, when it comes to the women's MMA here, I'll take the underdog, right? I don't think that she's gonna sit there and get held down by Taira for three rounds. I think she's able to find success on the feet and the striking, and find the better moments on the strike. Honestly, it might come down to a split decision, right? If you're able to bet this fight goes by split decision, either way, that might be a good look here. Because I think it's going to be a close one. A lot of takedowns from Taira in top control, and then a lot of heavy shots and good striking from Souza, I believe. So, Ketlin Souza, the underdog by decision. That is my official pick for this fight. All right, y'all. We have ran through all 11 fights on the card. If you made it this far, thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, guys. We are on the road to 300 subscribers. I'm like less than 20 away. So I'd really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button. Secondly, my Patreon is free. Links in the description. That's where you can see all of my bets when I place them. Okay, bets video comes out on Wednesdays, but I don't put my bets in on Wednesday right before the video drops, right? I put them in earlier in the week. That way I can get good odds, because the odds always sway in the opposite way. You'll see it. The odds are better when I put them in versus, the day of the bets video. But let's have a good week this week for UFC Vegas 108. Let's have a good week at the Apex. Okay, coming off some funky cards back to back. I have some good looks this week. Okay, and I have faith in my picks. So, Young Pasty, widest in the game, heading out. Let's go.